One of the coolest things about Smithy 4S is its dynamic module, and we'll have a separate video about that. But for now, I just wanted to share with you a practical use case of it, which is Smithy Playground. It's a tool that I have been making on and off for almost 3 years now, even before Smithy 4S was open sourced. I'll just show you what the tool does. I don't want to talk too much about this before doing that, so let's get to it. We'll start from the EP9 project from the AWS video, because it has the most setup so that I can show you the whole thing. And this is the Smithy build file, and I'll create a new file. Name doesn't matter, but let's say main.smithyql. SmithyQL is the syntax that I made up just for this particular tool, but it could possibly be for something else. Everything worked fine apparently, so I can use completions or just start writing code in SmithyQL to call a Smithy service. And it sees operations and services that are listed here in my sources and dependencies. In this module, I think we only have access to AWS Translate, basically. So let's do that. We'll do the exact same call as last time, so just translate text. Now we have completions for, let's say, the text. Let's do hello world. So as you can see, I get live feedback on what's missing, on what's incorrect. I even got like refinement failed, length required to be at least 1. So text is a non-empty string, and even the Scala side didn't validate that for me. There is a feature for Smithy 4S that's in progress, which will change that. It will make new types run validations, but at the moment the compile time checks are not as hard as they could be in Smithy 4S. So just keep it in mind. But here we do have that live feedback. So now it's fine, now it's not. So yeah, this is hello world. I also need 2 more fields. I can also see all these problems right here in the problems tab in VS Code. And source language code, let's say this English, it is English. And let's convert to Spanish again. And you can see some logs in the comments. This is just some debugging information. We can actually see what was sent on the wire. But most importantly, we get a response. This is formatted in the same kind of syntax as our input. And yeah, I think this is pretty cool. This works because it's an AWS service, but what about like simpleRestJson? Well, for that I also have an example, and we're going to use a slightly modified version of the 7th episode. The differences are mostly here in the Smithy spec. My country input in the create city operation has been changed from a string to an enum. So I'll create a new file, again call it demo SmithyQL. And now we should be able to use these operations, maybe in a second. There it is. So we have create city. Again, we have some errors, we have missing fields, so city, let's say London, and the country is going to be the UK. So we have completions on that, and now I can run that as well. Because the application is already running, I'm getting, let me do that again, I'm getting an output. The output is also, again, in the syntax that we use to make the query, but also the data that was sent in the body, we can see that here. Any headers that we had are also going to be available in this log. So this is just like HTTP4S logging, nothing too fancy. But yeah, I think this is a nice little tool to kind of investigate what is actually being sent on the wire, and also to play with some APIs without having to talk to the compiler. The completions may be useful sometimes, and it may be easier to get completions here than in Scala. For example, if you have a lot of files to compile, you just want to play with things real quick. So I'm not saying you should use this, but just have a look on the project website, maybe try to set it up for yourself. One more thing about protocols that are supported here. Well, the protocols that are at the moment supported is Alloy, simpleRestJson, and also all the AWS protocols that Smithy 4S supports. Anything else that you want to use, like your own company's protocol, you would need to define a plugin for Smithy Playground. And then you would have to configure the build config for that and basically tell the plugin, or it's actually a language server running all this. You would have to tell it with configuration right here how to load your plugin. But you can see what happens when you don't have a protocol. Let's say we remove this, and I'm just gonna restart Smithy Playground. It doesn't automatically reload. So now it sees that we don't have the simpleRestJson protocol or any of the other supported protocols, so it will not run the queries. You cannot actually execute this. There's at least one service uses an unsupported protocol. So just keep this in mind. You need a protocol that is known to the tool or provided in a plugin. So this is it, all I wanted to show. Thank you for watching. I hope you try it. If you don't, that's also fine. If you do try it, please give me some feedback, whatever it may be. And this is it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.